So Jared Kushner is promoting his book. We get to hear more from Jared Kushner. Isn't that lovely? Weren't you waiting to hear more from this, I don't know.
The world peace guy?
Yeah, right. The person who solved the Middle East.
Seems so solved.
I know, right? From his perspective, probably, Israel is continuing to subjugate and kill Palestinians as we speak ahead of their next election cycle, because nothing gets the voters in Israel energized more than some blood and conflict with Palestinians. But he went on Fox and was speaking with Bill Hemmer about who else? His father-in-law, Donald Trump. And if Trump made a mistake with taking now what seems to be like 700 pages of highly classified material from the White House and keeping it at Mar-a-Lago with a padlock, and Kushner doesn't necessarily give a straight answer here, which I think is interesting.
Did he make a mistake by taking that material to Florida?
Like I said, I'm not familiar with what was in the boxes, but I think President Trump, he governed in a very peculiar way, and when he had his documents, I'm assuming he did what he thought was appropriate.
When you wrote your book, did you have any difficulty working with the archivist and trying to get documents if you wanted to refer back to something?
No, we were able to work through it. We didn't really have to rely on the archivists. We knew I decided to do this in December as I was leaving, and so I was able to make sure that we got sign-offs for any material that I needed.
Because that's the primary concern with documents. There is the ease in which these former White House officials and Donald Trump himself could write their own book, so they could enrich themselves a little bit further.
I also like how Kushner is. I like how Kushner is like sort of like slyly being like, "Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong."
Yes,
he's like, "Yeah, it actually wasn't me."
But that's what you keep getting closer and closer in degrees to Trump, right? In terms of former Trump officials who are using their cachet from the Trump administration to now go publicly and say, I'm not like him. I didn't do anything wrong. It's more sensitive for Kushner because they're family, but that's where all of these Trump officials have been buttering their bread, which is like, I'm a right winger, I'm a terrible person, I'm an opportunist, and I use the Donald Trump administration as a way to enrich myself and move up the ladder. And I was a part of it, but when I chose to leave, or when he forced me out, now I've decided that I am a saint who's going to criticize him publicly and sell a lot of books. John Bolton is the ultimate example of that, who might even be a worse guy than Donald Trump himself, and is still trying to position himself as some moral authority figure here. But Kushner, man, like he did not want to answer that question, because it just is such an impossible stance for them to take here. These were the guys. Hillary's emails, the server, she should be locked up for not going through proper procedure. And I do think that she got arrogant and wanted things private for her own political gains when she was Secretary of State. There was a kernel there, but they made it a big thing. And it was part of the reason why she lost the election in 2016. I don't think it was the primary one, but it was indicative of like her larger arrogance. Now, this is way worse. Donald Trump held on to classified material for God knows what, potentially for blackmail purposes, leverage purposes at the very least. At the worst case, the sale of secrets for his own personal enrichment, which has been some of the speculation, although we don't know. It's indefensible. And so even somebody like Kushner, who's so close to him, he's got to come out and be like, sidestep that question. I would love to see if this guy goes on any media that isn't entirely friendly to him. Like Bill Hemmer, this is the news part of Fox, right? Like they try to present themselves as a bit more respectable, but they're still going to be friendly to Kushner because they see him as one of their own.
And it's hard to even say that.
I know, but I would love for him to actually get interviewed and see how he answers these questions.
No, for sure. And I don't mean even to say that about Hemmer. Sorry, I mean for the fact that It's not really Hemmer because he's kind of like the Brett Baer line similarly, but Dana
Yeah.
Perino's on the 5 all the time. That's just an opinion show where she talks about like how like libs are too worried about getting sunburned. It's the line is so thin. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if Dwight Gardner's review of the book in the New York Times, which I suggest anyone who'd like to get a good laugh should read that, which was a complete and utter like pan of Kushner's book. I can't imagine he'll want to do too many interviews like that with mainstream press.
Because it's so difficult for him to maintain his like, I am the respectable corporate guy, which
everyone
was
is mean to me.
That was his whole identity before this happened. Like Trump never thought he was going to win, right? He thought this was going to be a great vehicle for him and the rest of his family, Ivanka and Jared, to get some more money and get some more publicity. And then he did, and they didn't know their ass from their face, and like they were just tripping over ethical quandary after ethical quandary on their quest for more cash. And so Kushner was very happy being the son of a prominent real estate developer, married to the daughter of a prominent real estate developer, crazy reality TV guy, and just getting wealthier and wealthier. And so like this kind of polite discourse he feels comfortable trafficking in, but when it gets to the actual reality of how Trump conducted himself in office, like someone needs to pin these guys down because he's not going to be able to defend it. He's just not.